Hello, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream, and I'm going to do your April the 7th Spiritual Principle a Day in a Meditation. Hope you're having a wonderful morning. If you need to reach me, feel free to do so at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. Okay, the title of the meditation is Vulnerability Teaches Us to Trust. Each time we make ourselves vulnerable and find someone there for us, we come to a new level of safety and trust. That is taken from the Living Clean book, Chapter 5, Fellowship. Working step 5 with a sponsor can feel like bearing our underbellies. We summon up enough honesty, humility, and courage to admit the exact nature of our wrongs. Despite our conviction that we're doing the right thing, sharing our inventories can make us feel exposed. Being vulnerable can be an unnatural state for addicts. It tears down our hardened defenses. Sharing our inventory is an act of trust. For many of us, this may be the first time we reveal ourselves completely to another human being. Whether we have years clean or days, we find value in sharing our struggles and our victories with fellow members. Being real and sometimes raw creates opportunities for others to connect with us. Sharing from the heart simply resonates. We're often humbled by the kindness of our fellow members who support us when we are most vulnerable. Each time we take a risk, open up, and are met with loving support from other members, we understand the strength and vulnerability on a deeper level. I look at this kind of vulnerability as the emotional equivalent of a trust fall. One member shared, each act of vulnerability enhances our feelings of safety in our relationships. The more we practice connecting with other members, the more at home we feel in NA. I will challenge my old beliefs about trust. I will push myself out of my comfort zone to practice being vulnerable and allow other members the opportunity to be there for me. Let's take a moment of silence followed by the we version of the Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence now, please. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today, please and thank you. Vulnerability has taught me trust. There were times that I would be vulnerable, either in my sharing or in my step 5, and immediately after having mustered up, as it mentions here, the honesty, the humility, and the courage to admit my exact nature of, or the exact nature of my wrongs, right? After doing all of that, there would be this sense of, you have really messed up now, girl. You have really put your business out there and you're trusting this person to not expose you. And I would honestly have to say, if I've ever been exposed, I don't know about it. I don't know that my 5th step has been shared in a manner that the experience that I shared pointed directly back to me. I don't know. I have an ideal that there might be one sponsor that I worked with when I first got in the program, but I never went the distance with her because I was too busy hearing everybody else's business. It made common sense that she would also be sharing my business. So I never had that experience necessarily with her, even though I assumed it. Now, the other ones and the one now, I have never heard my business. I have never heard it. And that's kind of what you want. That is what you want, not kind of. However, I want to make sure that we understand sometimes that sharing the message and not the messenger When you're in a close-knit environment, sharing that message and not the messenger is it's kind of like saying, I'm gonna close my eyes and I won't be able to see. Okay, that's a given, right? When you close your eyes, you're not going to be able to see. So saying in a small environment that I'm going to go to this meeting that happens once or twice a week and share my experience, strength, and hope. And the chances of me not ever hearing that is slim, even though it should be very possible. It should be absolutely possible. But somewhere in the back of my mind, I can see an individual sitting in a meeting and hearing about an individual getting their children back, losing custody of them while coming into the program, getting their children back. And somewhere in the back of my mind, I can hear someone taking that message of hope and using it to encourage someone else that might be passing through that. They might bump into them in another meeting and say, hey, I know this person has truly had a story to share about getting their children back. You might want to go talk to him or her. And then that individual actually reaching out, someone suggested that I talk to you about me losing custody with my kids. And, they said that you got your children back. And I just felt like, so hopeless until I heard your experience. I heard that you've been through this. And I was wondering, do you have some time to talk to me? I could see that other person with that experience. There's a slim possibility that they might be thinking, who took my business? Who took my business and shared that like that? I could see them feeling like their confidence or their trust was broken. But more, I see them as being able to enjoy that moment of giving hope back to an individual, right? So the point being that sometimes we might be vulnerable and take a chance and it not work out. But most of the time, it's going to work out. And you're never going to know if you never take a chance. If you never take a chance or a risk of being vulnerable. There's times where I work with people and I never hear like the deep truths about their exact nature because there's all of this convoluted piling on top of layer of layer of layer of, and I wouldn't say necessarily dishonesty, but the inability to actually look at the part that they're playing, denial. And it's a level of self-willing, wishing that they weren't responsible for their own recovery, right? And so it's like pulling teeth, right? Sometimes it's like pulling teeth to get them to be vulnerable enough. And there have been times when there's been so much execution of dishonesty, right? Or inability to be vulnerable enough to trust me that I've had to relinquish them to find someone that you do trust because you need to make progress. And it's apparent that you can't make it with me. Right? You have to be able to trust your sponsor. And I don't think it was reflective on me in any kind of way. I just think that they have passed through so much childhood abuse and damage that it's hard for them to really be intimate with any human being on a deep level. And so, taking that all into consideration, today I want to just challenge you to go a step further with your sponsor. And if you have the type of sponsor where you're completely vulnerable with them, that's wonderful. That's truly, truly amazing. And I believe that's the way that it should be. But if you're not, and you know it's not them, it's you, I would recommend that you just take a chance on something. It doesn't have to be everything, but just take a chance and see how that feels for you. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. My name is Mighty Stream. I've enjoyed talking to you today. I hope that you will have a beautiful day on purpose. Talk to you soon.